Recording in progress.
Still
Okay,
not the
let's
blue light.
start.
Okay. I hereby call the April 19, 2022 meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment for Long Hill Township to order at 7:37. Call to order and in statement of compliance. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting a copy of the public meeting dates on the municipal bulletin board and website, by sending a copy to the Echo Sentinel and Courier News newspapers, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. Standard board procedures. Any hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Meeting cutoff. Announcement is made that as a matter of procedure, it is the intention of the Zoning Board of Adjustment not to continue any matter past 10:30 p.m. in any regular or special meeting of the board, unless a motion is passed by the members then present to extend the meeting to a later specified cutoff time. Electronic devices. All in attendance are asked to mute cell phones or any electronic devices as to not interrupt the proceedings. Pledge of Allegiance. Brian, would you lead us, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Yes, Mr. Aronio is excused tonight. Mr. Giannakis?
Here.
Mr. Grosskopf is excused tonight. Mr. Hain is excused tonight. Mr. Rosenberg will be here momentarily. Mr. Lindeman?
Here.
Ms. Brennan is excused tonight. Vice Chairman Johnson?
Here.
Chairman Grecht?
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
All right. And the minutes you said are not ready, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll skip
Next
that.
meeting, yep.
Now, we go right to the applications. We have a variance, it's not a use variance, right? Or, I don't want to say that.
I don't think it's a use, it's
Okay.
just say variance.
It's a variance, okay. Block 10104, lot 5.01, zone R2. Address is 300 South Northfield Road, application number 21-24Z. Teresa Gallo, applicant, proposes to construct an addition to a single-family residence to accommodate a senior suite and/or accessory apartment. Is the applicant present? Yes. Okay, would you come forward, please?
And let the record show that Mr. Rosenberg has arrived.
Good, thank you.
And
You can sit right here at the table.
Mr. Chair, if I may, our office had the opportunity to review the notice. The content of the notice is sufficient. It was published on April 7th, more than 10 days, before today. The certified mailings are accurate, so this board has jurisdiction for this application.
Thank you. Will you have any witnesses tonight besides yourself?
My architect and civil engineer.
Okay, are they present?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now, would you swear her in, please?
Can you bring your architect and your civil engineer up?
Yep, we'll swear you all in.
We'll swear everybody in at the
And
same time.
everybody, including our experts.
We could raise their right hand. Everybody swear the testimony they're about to give this evening be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
All right. That said, now, Ms. Gallo, would you just give us a little overview of what this entails and why you need it?
Yeah, so my parents are aging and their health is failing, especially my mom, and my father's having trouble taking care of her. So we wanted to put a senior suite on so that they can sell their home, which is way too big for them, and they can't care for themselves. She's currently has to use a walker that she can barely get around in, and
Yeah, you have to talk into the mic.
and their home isn't conducive of a wheelchair. At some point, she probably will need to be in a wheelchair. She has dialysis 3 days a week, and she's diabetic and she has a lot of health issues. And my father has some health issues, mental health issues. He suffers from anxiety and depression, and he can't be alone. So if something were to happen to her, he's going to need a place that he feels is his home, and need family to take care of him.
Okay. And tell us a little about the addition. What's going to be in the addition?
So we're gonna have a larger bathroom, so it would accommodate the wheelchair with, like a walk-in shower, so we can bathe her. A bedroom for them, and then a little, living room area, and they want to have their own counter, they just use the toaster oven, maybe put like a burner on there, not really a,
Not a full kitchen.
no, I mean, they'll need a counter with a coffee pot and a microwave, just so they can have their coffee in the morning. I'm sure we'll be doing most of the cooking and feeding them, but just so that they feel like, they've been in their home for 56 years, so for them to come out is a little tough for them, so to give them a little bit of feeling of independence is what we're looking to do, make them comfortable.
How many rooms is the addition?
Well, it would be a bedroom, a dining room, and a kitchen,
Okay.
and a bathroom.
And a bathroom. Okay.
Yeah.
And from your drawings here, where's it coming off of your house? Off the back of your house?
It'll come, yeah, out of the back of the house where our kitchen is. We'll be removing our deck,
Okay.
and it'll just go into the backyard where it's a very, very big backyard, so it's not gonna encroach on anybody.
Alrighty. Does any board member have a question of the applicant before she brings up her experts?
I don't know if there's an expert question or not, but I was looking at the checklist.
Gary,
Oh, what?
microphone.
This is right here.
Yeah, put
Speak
it
into
closer.
Hello? So I don't know if it's for one of the professionals or for the applicant, but I was looking at the chart of, variance required, no. So I'm wondering why we're here.
It's the size of the suite.
Yeah.
It's the size of the suite, but to eliminate the need for certain testimony, you understand that the board could view this as potentially an apartment, not just a senior suite.
So from my understanding, is I have to certify that my parents are still living there every year, and if they're not, then I have to take the kitchen out to prevent it from being rented,
Correct.
which is fine.
Okay.
I have no
Alright.
intentions of renting it or trying to make money. This is about taking care of them.
That's
Okay.
absolutely fine.
All right. Well, thank you.
So what's the variance?
The size of the senior suite, 650 feet is the max, and we're about 820
650 square feet. is
square
correct.
feet, and we're about 820 now.
870, I think?
870.
Okay. So it's the
Yeah.
extent of it, the size of it. Okay.
Yeah, because we need it to be bigger to accommodate her wheelchair and walker.
Okay, so the reason for the increased size is because of wheelchair and walker ability to get around?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it was just called an addition, it would be 850 square feet allowed. It's
Right,
just because
exactly,
they're
but
close in.
because it's an accessory, it's someone else living there, basically. If they were just adding to their house for their own use, it'd be different.
Right, I think we saw something like this once before.
Yeah, we have,
Yeah.
we've seen a few of these, they're more common. Okay, any expert questions of the applicant? Okay. All right, which one of your experts would you like to bring up first?
Well, I guess Nick can come up.
You have
I don't
that
think there was a lot
microphone you could use?
architecturally
I'm not sure if it's working well, so I would say just use.
Oh,
Nick,
just
if you
use that
wanna-
one there? Okay, fine.
Nick, you could sit
Can
down.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's working.
You
wanna
can
bring
sit
a
down
chair?
if you want. Do we have another chair? We don't see no
If somebody
other
wants to move that chair
There's
behind.
one over there, right?
chair. Yeah, there's one right over there.
Yeah, yeah, there you go, okay.
You wanna roll that over? We just play musical chairs here, I don't know where they all went. Watch the microphone cord. Hold it, put
Yeah,
that
just
back
move
over.
the microphone back to the
Yeah.
table, thanks, Nick.
I don't know how much more I can add to what
Well,
Ms. Cal
first of all-
presented, but
What expert are you? You're the,
I'm sorry, I'm the architect.
you're the architect, okay, just to qualify you, you're active, your license is still active in New Jersey? And-
Yes.
Okay, and what are your qualifications and how many boards have you, testified before?
50, maybe 50 for the various communities, Summit,
Have you, you've been before this board before, haven't
I've
you?
been living in town here for 40-some
Yeah,
years.
you probably have been, you look
I've been
familiar.
here before all of you.
Okay, and when were you licensed as an architect?
73,
Okay, I deem you an expert.
Your license is still valid?
and they haven't chased me out of town.
I asked him.
Oh, you
You said yes.
Yeah.
First question I asked him. Other than, could you just explain the style of the building and how it's going to conform with the existing building?
Essentially, certainly, on an exterior basis, we're going to match existing siding, horizontal siding, to match the same roof, and try and make it not look like an addition, obviously, and
Right.
same window styles, things of that nature, and the colors will be the same, so trying to blend in as much as possible. And,
Okay.
and as Ms. Gallo did say, that we just had to make accommodations for maneuverability, and the building got somewhat larger, but it has to work for her mother and father, so we're here looking for relief on that
Okay.
excess footage.
I think that the idea that it's, what it is just that fact it's bigger than the normal one that we would normally see for that size.
Yes.
But I think the concern with most of us here would be that it blends in with the existing building, that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, that it doesn't make the neighbors feel like it's encroaching upon them, basically, or, I know you're within the setbacks, correct?
We're within the setbacks. The property is surrounded by trees and shrubs, et cetera.
Okay.
It's a decent-sized lot, and a good portion of, probably 2/3 of it, is behind the main building.
Okay.
On the left side, it sticks out a bit. So basically, on a streetscape, I don't think there's an imposition or a change in the fabric of the neighborhood. We're trying to,
Okay,
Yes,
so from the
if we
street,
can.
you're not gonna, it's not gonna be imposing?
I don't believe so. You see a section of it to the left side, but the majority goes into the backyard and alongside the back of the house.
And the roof line is gonna be behind the existing roof line? Okay, so that won't be sticking up then?
And it's still all one story. So,
Right.
you know, there's
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah, it's all a one-story structure. Any basement under it? Bless you.
No, it'll be a crawl space.
What, a 3 or 4 foot crawl space?
Yeah, about 5 steps up from the deck, about 3 or 4 feet.
Okay. Is that gonna have access, storage crawl space, or just a crawl
No.
space? Okay. Well, are you gonna
There'll be
is there a way of gaining access?
There'll be access for
Bless you.
code requirements, but it's not for storing
Okay.
lawn furniture or anything.
No, okay. There's only so much you can store in 3 feet, but, any questions of the expert?
Let's have one. On your drawing, A1, you have a note indicating that the septic tank is to be, is that removed or relocated?
Yes, that's what it says.
Is it going to be removed or relocated?
It'll be removed,
Okay, and so the septic system is being replaced with a sewer connection?
yes.
Okay, and have you gotten? I know there's some issues with connecting to the township sewer. So has that been addressed?
It's been investigated, addressed, and they've got a fair amount, some approvals, I guess, Ms. Gallo could attest to that. And we also have Bill Hollows here,
Okay.
our civil engineer. who
All right, he'll speak
addressed-
to more of the more
Yeah,
of that
so
stuff.
So
he'll address your question,
Currently, the house is on septic?
yes.
Okay. Bless you. As far as the architecture would go, I mean, you obviously know you have to have negative and positive criteria. What would you say that the positive criteria for this is, as an architect?
Well, basically, it's all, first of all, a need, a very, very pressing need for the family. And not only just maneuverability, but for Ms. Gallo and her husband to care for the parents, number one. Trying to keep as low a profile as possible and keep it to a size that we feel is reasonable for what we're looking for. Again, using the same materials and colors, and hopefully you'll blend in and be an asset.
And as far as the negative, it's not gonna be a negative impact on the neighborhood as far as you can tell?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Visually, it's a very minor impact, driving down the street.
Does any one of our experts have a question for the gentleman?
Just one question. Could you touch upon the proposed ramp that I see on the plans that's proposed? It looks like from the existing driveway up to the new deck, and what that's for, and how that will,
Well, that's very.
what the necessity is for that,
Yeah, in the, for the future, right now, Ms. Gallo's mother is somewhat incapacitated and she uses a walker. But sadly, things might progress, and we wanted to be able to accommodate a ramp, to have access, off the driveway, come around to the back and pick up a ramp. If and when that's done, and we're not 100% sure when, it'll be according to ADA codes and whatever's necessary.
What would it be constructed out of? What material?
Don't know yet, unless you have some thoughts.
Yeah, well, right
Lorraine.
now, I put one up for her in her current home, and it's metal.
Okay.
AMRAMP did it.
Oh, okay.
ADA.
So you'd have another outside corporation do it, and it would be a prefabricated one that they would come and put in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
they came and did it in a day, it's all metal put together, and, so she uses that now, if she needs to get out, because she has to go to the dialysis center 3 days a week, and especially with the weather bad, she can't walk out to the car.
So by being in that format, if down the line, if you ever didn't need it, it could be taken up, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not gonna be a structure that's gonna be permanent, like a wood decking or cement or anything like that? Okay.
In fact, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, we probably won't put it up right away until the need is,
Okay.
so.
Okay, so this is something that you're planning for the future?
Yeah, it's just if we need it, we needed to provide space for it and make sure we can.
But you're gonna design the deck so that it can be accessed by a ramp?
Yes. And it's so located that it's totally behind the house.
Okay.
You'll be able to see that all.
And I would just add too, that a lot of times, these ramps are, unfortunately somewhat common, for this type
Yeah.
need, and there are several companies that do, they bring them, they're essentially prefabricated, they're, built a little bit to design based on the site accommodations, and then, if there's no longer a need, they also come and take them down and remove them from the site, so they're permanent for a certain amount of time, but, they're
Right.
not permanent,
Well, that's why I asked.
no
because-
underground footing systems or anything
Yeah,
like that.
that's why I asked that, because I wanted to know if you're building a structure that couldn't be removed, if it does, or, it's gonna be difficult. Any other questions?
Just one follow-up on that. So if I could just clarify, so the intention initially is to build the addition and the ramp would come if needed at a future date?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just one question to the board attorney. Does that create anything in terms of the approval that it, maybe when they're going for the inspection, the ramp's not there?
No, because the ramp could be added without a variance.
Okay.
Well, as long as we give them the approval for the ramp. We have to put that in there, we allow them to have a ramp at whatever they specify.
Correct.
Okay. It would have to be in the resolution. that the
Correct.
ramp
It'll
is-
be in the resolution.
Yeah. Just doesn't have to be there immediately.
Correct.
You have any other questions? Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I have a general
Yeah,
question.
go ahead.
So what makes this quote-unquote senior suite is the kitchen? That's what, as opposed to just an addition to a house? Which I assume they'd be allowed to do.
Well, they'd be allowed to do an addition. They can't do a apartment without a D variance. This particular senior suite must be certified every year that it is in fact a family member living there.
But what makes this an apartment as opposed to just another bedroom with a
The
bathroom? So it is the kitchen.
full
What the
living
ordinance
space.
says is separate housekeeping
Yeah,
facilities,
housekeeping.
so that's a little vague, but my understanding is Ms. Gallo was told by maybe the building department that if she removes the kitchen at a later date, that would it would no longer be a senior suite.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Any additions? Any other testimony?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. You want to call your next witness?
Bill Hollows?
You can sit right here, Bill.
I have
Oh, you have an exhibit? Oh. Oh, we love your exhibits. Whatever happened to our easel? Did we ever find out?
No clue.
Oh, buddy. turn off the lights
You
and
know,
they
you'd
steal
think
our
that I'd know,
easels.
because we're in here the most.
Yeah, but,
But
okay.
nobody tells me.
Nobody tells you, okay.
I don't know where they go.
They hid it somewhere.
Well.
Is it, you wanna mark this, A1? This is a color rendition of,
I'm gonna try the
Yeah, I
microphone. Let's
I
see
will.
if it-
Can we mark this something different only
Okay.
because the architect labeled his A1?
oh, okay, then, A2.
What,
A2.
I missed an exhibit?
No, it's his,
The drawing number.
he's drawing number on the exhibit that was previously submitted, so it doesn't
Got
have to be marked.
Okay.
but
It's a lot.
A3.
That's
yeah.
fine.
Bill, I think you should straighten up your easel there, it's a little, yeah, it's a little cockeyed there, it's gonna fall down on you. Yeah, but that center thing has to be pushed down.
Yeah, can we do
I
a,
don't know why there's no A2.
Bill, while they're doing that, just answer a few questions here. You're still licensed as as what your expertise is?
I am.
Okay.
April is a renewal time for engineers and land surveyors, and we renew.
Yeah, you got a microphone right there. So you're duly licensed and you're still active?
Ready for the next 2 years.
Good, all right. I deem you qualified still.
Just to kind of give you the background. This is the survey map, I think, that you have in
Yes.
your drawings, and it shows the existing house, well, the property, limits of the property, it's an acre, or better than an acre, it's 45,000 square feet. It sits between Valley Road and Aaron Drive on South Northfield Road. There's a house on either side of it. The house is a 1.5-story frame dwelling, Cape Cod-style house. You got a paved drive. We call that a shed, but actually it's connected to the building. It's, it has its own little door, but it is connected. There's a deck in the back. There's scattered trees around the property and a large lawn area. And to the south, you've got a wooded area between our subject property and the properties on Aaron Drive, and also to the west. South Northfield Road runs north-south, north being the title block area of the drawing.
we just mark this one, we're actually gonna mark.
This is A3.
A5, because the
A5.
architect did A1, A3, and A4.
Okay, so mark it A5. Thank you for catching that.
We can-
Actually,
Okay, wait,
Under.
now let's say that again. So the first drawing that he had was what?
A2, because the architect didn't submit an A2.
Okay. And now this is going to be
A5.
A5. Thank you.
Just trying to make things complicated.
No, actually uncomplicated, that's good.
This is a very similar drawing, and I think the 11 by 17s that you recently received are the same as this drawing. This has a revision date of April 7th, 2022. And I'll go over really the revision has to do real.
So that shows the addition. Is it still working?
Did
Yeah.
the battery just cut out? All right,
Get together.
Wait a minute, she's got some.
let me try. Do you want to pick up? You can continue if you want to pick that one up, Bill, while I try to fix this.
This is the drawing, the 11 by 17 drawing that you have. And this drawing is showing the existing house, the paved drive, and to the back of the house, at the southwesterly side of the house, would be the proposed addition. And I'm pointing to it. It sticks out a little bit. It does meet the side yard setback. There's a little deck that comes off the front of that. And then you've got a walkway, steps and a walkway to the driveway, and just a little bit to the other side is that ramp that we were just talking about. And that would come off the walkway and come up. This house presently is on a septic system. The septic field is back in the northwest corner. And I don't know exactly where the septic tank is, but we assume that it's somewhere in the general area where the addition would be built. What we're proposing to do is connect to the existing sanitary sewer that runs in an easement in the Clover Hill subdivision off of Aaron Drive. We would have a lateral that would go and tie into that, that existing sewer.
To the south of the building.
It'd be to the south. And we have, just to kind of bring you up to date on that, because I know that's a question, we have submitted a drawing to Ferraro Engineering, the Township Engineer's Office, and they have reviewed it and said that it's satisfactory as far as a sewer connection. Mrs. Gallo has talked to New Jersey American Water Company, and they've reviewed that drawing, and we're just awaiting the approval from the higher-ups to sign off on that. I don't think
It died again?
Yeah.
we'll just go with the other.
Sorry.
Previously, the original drawing that you had, we had a sewer easement going into Lot 2. What happened there is, prior to us getting a deed recorded for that easement, the people sold their house. So we no longer had access. Mrs. Gallo has talked to the people on the corner, Lot 1, and they're willing to give the easement.
Okay.
So our next step is, once New Jersey American Water signs off, I have an easement map drawn up, and I have to write a meets and bounds description of the easement, and then the attorney will file that easement. And then the township engineer has asked for copies of that.
Okay. And
So-
you need to go over someone else's property to get to the sewer system?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the easement is to the rear of their homes, and from what I can see on these properties, they kind of have their yards up to the easement, and then behind the easement is kind of scattered trees, and it's not as finished as.
Not a maintained lawn,
Yeah,
basically.
correct. So we have a little bit of flexibility. If we hit a tree or something in there, we've tried to locate the trees. We're going to move the lateral a little bit.
Okay.
It kind of brings you up to date on that item. We're proposing a dry well for the increase in impervious coverage, which is a little over 1,000 square feet, and that would be to the back of the yard.
Are you going to have the roof leaders?
Yes, the roof leaders from the addition and a little part of the existing house to get to that area, that total that we need as far as, I think it's 1,100 and some square feet.
And how big is the dry well?
It's a 6-foot diameter dry well, 6 feet deep.
Okay, so it can handle how much?
It can handle 4 inches of runoff.
Okay.
And the septic system would be abandoned and closed according to Board of Health requirements. All right.
And what does that entail, the closing of it?
Well, I think in this case, a lot of times you would just fill the septic tank up with sand or something and take the pipes out of it so it doesn't. And I think in this case, since it's in the construction area, it would just be removed.
Okay.
And then the pipes would be cut off and plugged.
Okay.
You generally leave the bed there.
And the structure itself, as the architect, is going to be put on a crawl space, so it's going to be on a cement slab with a crawl space? The structure, the new structure?
Bottom surface will have a slab, but
Right.
the rest of it's raised 3.5 feet.
Right, but I
with
mean,
framing.
the base of the crawl space is going to be over where the septic is.
Partially.
So you have to make sure that doesn't sink by
Oh, yeah.
properly filling it in. Okay.
It's partially, not entirely, just pitching a corner.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I think that kind of gives you the overview, and I can go through the engineer's letter and just.
Fine.
Yeah, only the comments that you haven't already touched upon, because I know some of them have
Okay.
already been, addressed, so no need to repeat.
What are some of the things he hasn't touched upon?
Let's see, I believe we talked about the first one. The architect provided testimony about the ramp, and we discussed how it would be a company would probably bring it in, therefore it would meet all UCC requirements and have railings in compliance with the Uniform Construction Code. We talked about the easement, so now it's going to be on adjacent lot 1, that is correct?
Correct.
So, and that's already been discussed, and you're ready to file that. The 6-inch sanitary sewer, was there a reason?
The
for that?
the reason is
That's a pretty big sewer lateral for a single family, so.
I'm under 2% on the slope. That's why I went
Okay.
to the 6. I mean, I'm just under,
Gotcha.
but to be on the safe side, we went
Okay,
with the 6.
no problem. Just wanted to check that there wasn't a typo or anything like that.
Better safe than sorry, in other words.
Yeah, but you also have to have velocity through it too.
Sure,
So
yeah.
it's, you gotta find the happy middle ground there. So, as far as soils, have we looked into the soils on the site and the location of the proposed dry well? Just want to make sure we have separation from groundwater.
We have not yet. We have a note on the plan that we would,
Okay.
that we would do that. I hate to use this word, but in designing, I made the assumption, and I really hate to use the word assumption.
Pull that microphone
Since we had
close.
a septic system that-
Grab the mic, because you're not.
Since we had a septic system, we had a pretty good, we should have some percolation in that area.
Based on what's already there. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
My only comment then would be, should during construction, when you excavate the area, if you run into a condition that is not anticipated and you have to modify the design at all, that's either reviewed by myself or the township engineer, just to verify that it's,
Sure.
if it's a system that's just designed more shallow and larger, wider, just to make sure that it could still accommodate the 4 inches of runoff. I believe you mentioned in your testimony that there's existing trees along the adjacent property line to lots 1 and 2, so those largely be maintained?
Yes.
Or is any new screening proposed?
There is, I have none proposed on my plan. I can say this, that Mr. Gallo keeps a very nice yard. The front yard has foundation plantings, nice lawn, it's very well kept. And I would think that he would probably do that.
Around the addition?
Shaking his head, so.
Yeah, around the addition that faces South Northfield Road.
Excellent. And one last question, will a soil erosion and sediment control permit be required for the construction?
It will be required just for I know the addition's pretty small, but to get the sewer connection in, to get the dry well in, and to do some grading around the building, it does meet that 5,000 square foot threshold.
Okay, excellent. And I believe the rest of my comments about sewer were discussed, and the applicant has stipulated that she would adhere to the deed restrictions that are required in the township code for senior suites, so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
had a question. I thought there was a
Talk into the microphone a little more so people can hear.
I thought it was a 7,000.
Yeah, 5,000 is the threshold. Once it reaches 5,000, then you have to go to soil conservation for an approval, so.
Okay, I thought it was 7 when I read that. Okay.
5.
Any questions of the engineer?
Yeah, with regard to comment 4 of the engineer's letter, the soil mapping, you're going to submit that soil mapping?
I think what we had discussed is that we would do a soils test, and typically on these smaller projects, when they're out there doing the excavation for the addition, there's a machine on site that at that time would be a good time to do the soils test.
Okay, so when you do the soil test, you'll submit that to the board engineer and to their
Yes.
satisfaction?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions or others? Okay,
Who does the soil? Who does the soil test? You do?
he does. He gets his waders on, he gets out there. All right,
That we've been having, you might,
yeah. No other questions from our experts? Okay.
No.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I think I think if you
Okay.
have questions, just really wanted to show you
Yeah.
where that addition was and then bring you up to date on the sewer and,
Thank you, thank you. Your color rendition really makes it, actually looks a lot better than the regular one.
that was one thing that was really nice on the Zoom meetings, because then you could have it right on your screen, right? in
Right,
front.
yes.
Yeah.
That's
We're
okay.
working on the updates for the TV screens.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna be all on big
Yeah,
screen
it'll
TVs.
happen eventually. The budget's gotta pass first.
All right, hearing no other questions and no other testimony, does the board members have any other questions of the applicant that you may have come up during the testimony? No? Okay. Any of our experts have any questions of the applicant that may have come up? Okay, good. I just want to make sure everybody's asked everything they want to ask.
Public.
Yes. Public, is there a public that wants to ask any questions? I don't see any in person, but is there anybody in Zoom or?
We have no attendees in Zoom tonight.
Oh, there goes our ratings.
Don't jinx it. Shh.
Yes, I know. All right, well, being that there is no public, and I didn't stop before every expert because I didn't see any, that was my mistake. I'm getting a little, it's hard to switch from Zoom to real because in Zoom you can see that people raise their hands. Here you don't know who's who because we got a mixed bag going here. But knowing that we don't have any public to ask anything, which is good, so I'll close it to the public. All right, any last words that you want to tell us about the project, or?
No, I appreciate your consideration, and it's really important that we get this approved for them, for
All
their
right.
safety and their health.
Thank you. All right, Gary, you want to start off the deliberations?
Sure. I think the whole presentation has been put together really nicely. I think it's great that you want to bring your parents to your home to care for them. The designs seem to kind of fit with the neighborhood. I like it, and it sounds like you've made all the attempts to, mitigate any negatives, and there aren't any. So I'm inclined to be in favor of this application.
Okay, Mr. Rosenthal, would you like to go next?
Rosenberg.
Oh, Rosenberg, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Rosenberg, I'm sorry.
That's only been about 4 years.
Yeah, I know, it's just, sorry.
No, I agree that there, in terms of the presentation, I don't see anything that would raise any flags about negative aspects of creating this addition. It appears to be in line with what is existing and doesn't stand out from the, on the, either at the street line. It doesn't appear to affect the neighbors as well. And being that there's also no neighbors here who have any objections to this or any questions about this, I don't see any how this does not fit within the the appeal, the neighborhood's presentation. I guess doesn't present differently, so I would be supportive of this application.
Thank you. Ben?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add here. I don't see any negatives to the neighborhood. I see, obviously only positives for the applicant. And yeah, especially with the, provision that it would not necessarily last beyond this owner. So I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be approved.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair?
I'm in favor of the application as well. The proposed relief is a minor increase over the senior suite that's necessary for the mobility issues of the resident. I believe it promotes the single-family residential use of this property and allows a family member with mobility issues to fully use that property, and therefore meets the positive criteria. In terms of the negative criteria, I don't think the proposed addition is a detriment to any of the neighbors and is in keeping with the neighborhood architecture. I believe it advances the purpose of the municipal land use law, and I'm in favor of the application.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it also, and I agree with my fellow board members in their discussion. I think that the applicant has shown that the negative criteria is very little, if any. There's no people objecting to it, none of the neighbors that live around it. I believe that there's enough shading of this area with the trees and the naturally occurring buffers. It's a positive that it promotes the good and welfare of the neighborhood because it helps the applicant with their elderly parents, and I don't think it has a negative effect on the ordinances, or on the master plan. It actually promotes the master plan has that provision in it for seniors, for suites like this, for family members. The size difference was explained because of the mobility issue and the access for wheelchairs and other mobility potentials, motorized wheelchairs, whatever, they need more room. So I would also be in favor of it. Okay, do we have a resolution?
Need a motion?
Yeah, do I have a motion to approve this applicant?
Mr. Chairman, before we do that, can we just go over conditions of approval?
Sure, I'm sorry.
So just to confirm, I just want to confirm with the board attorney. So there'll be a perk test for the dry well.
Correct.
And I assume we'll have to have the confirmation of the easement of the adjacent property for the sewer connection?
Yes, that will need to be reviewed.
Okay.
And the testing of the, for the
Soil test for the dry well.
soil test for the dry well.
And all the conditions of a senior suite.
Right. And the fact that the ramp will not be put in immediately. It might be down the line, yeah, as needed. Do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second? Okay. Can I hear a
Roll call.
roll call?
Vice Chairman Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Giannakis?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Chairman Correct?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Good luck with it.
Hope it goes smoothly.
Yeah.
Are we still?
Really nice paper.
Yeah, that light doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's not, it wasn't working?
I mean, some systems work well.
Usually it says on the rock. It'll say,
But mostly, I was surprised at the skill paper. With the, I guarantee you, open no
It's different quality.
Yeah,
Name excuses like birth.
oh my gosh. It's crazy. Septic, how much did I pay? Like 30, 40, 50. A lot like that, maybe not.
All right, guys, want to take a 5-minute break?
But some,
Bathroom break, and then we'll start with the next one?
It's up to you.
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break, just,
thank you.
Thank you.
take right, we're back in session. You want to take a roll call?
Sure. What time is it? 8:25, okay. Mr. Aronio is excused. Mr. Giannakis.
Here.
Mr. Grosskopf is excused. Mr. Hain is excused. Mr. Rosenberg.
Here.
Mr. Lindemann.
Here.
Ms. Brennan is excused. Vice Chairman Johnson.
Here.
Chairman Garrett.
Here.
Chairman, we still have a quorum.
Good. All right, we didn't lose anybody. All right.
Mr. Chair, if I may, real quick. Our office had the opportunity to review the notice for this application. The content of the notice is adequate. It was published on April 8th, which is more than 10 days prior to today, and the certified mailings are sufficient, so the board has jurisdiction to hear this application.
All righty. This is the variance for block 13401, lot 3, zone R2, known as 125 Mountain Avenue, application number 21-11Z, Bishoy, how do you pronounce the last name? Surya. And the applicant is here. Would you swear them in, please?
Do you have an architect or an expert or anything?
I don't.
No?
Today, no.
Just, if you could both raise your right hand. Testimony you're about to give this evening, do you swear to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Thank you.
We just were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew you guys had your hands up.
Yes, you're swearing them in too, okay. Now, I understand that you're here tonight to, the fact that there was a wall built behind your house that was there prior to you purchasing the house, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you're here to get a variance on whatever was done wrong or right about that wall, basically. Well, just tell us exactly, you know, what is the issue with the wall?
Well, it's tall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too tall, right?
Yeah, apparently. It seems to stay up. We've had a couple of heavy storms
Yeah.
within the time that we've lived there, and it seems to stay up. And we have a couple of pictures of the process while it was being installed, and it seems that whoever built it to quote unquote code, with the mesh between the layers. So it seems like he built the gutter system in between and the
Drainage system in between?
yeah, the drainage system, sorry. Whenever it rains, or the storms we had within the time frame of at least June when we moved in until now, especially yesterday, you know, there doesn't seem to be an issue. But I don't see that there's an issue. Whatever issues are being raised with whatever variances are, or I don't know what's being required really.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna turn to you.
We'll jump in.
Yeah, no, the ordinance, retaining walls in the rear yard can be a maximum of 6 feet.
Okay.
This retaining wall was constructed at 6.59.
Okay, slightly
So
bigger.
It's slightly bigger,
Okay.
yes. So they need a variance for that condition.
Okay, is there any, I was reading something about a railing. Is that a necessary thing in this case, or?
So, you know, according to the land use section on walls, that a guide rail or other restraining device is recommended on walls, especially those that exceed 6 feet in height. So this becomes another question, because the way that the code reads, once you put a railing on top of the wall, that gets added onto the height of the wall.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't,
Yeah,
right?
so, you know, where we're gonna say, okay, this wall might only be exceeding 6 feet by 0.59 at the moment, if it's going to require a 3 or 3.5 foot railing on top of it, now you're gonna exceed it by nearly 4 feet.
Okay.
So the variance request, although it's only for 0.59 feet of true retaining wall height, let's tack on 42 inches, which is 3.5 feet on top of it, which is the maximum that the construction office would require, and ask for the maximum allowed, which would be 10.09 feet. So, but again, stipulating that the retaining wall itself is only 6.59 with 42 inches on top to allow for a.
Right, but as far as the railing goes, railings are basically more to keep anyone who's on that wall from falling off it,
That is correct, for safety. This is strictly a safety railing.
Right, but-
Not to restrain any earth, not to hold back anything.
No, I understand it, but in this case, does this wall really anticipate anybody walking on it or in it or on top of it?
That's a question for, the use of the site. As the owners and future, they might not live at this site forever. They might have children, families in the future might have children, and there are stairs to get up on those terraces. So you can walk from grade to the middle terrace, up the stairs and up to the
Well,
top.
that's what I was
So
asking.
there is a means, it's not like it's inaccessible.
Okay, so it's
because of
accessible
the
for
stairs, it
people.
makes it fairly accessible that I would recommend and be a lot more comfortable with a very small railing on top of it, which again.
What's the
goes-
height of the railing would have to
It would be maximum, I believe it's 36 inches, but it might be up to 42, which is 3.5 feet. So that's why I would say the variance request should go up to the 42 on
Okay.
top of that.
So that would be how tall in all?
That would be total, it would be 10.09, so that would be,
10.09,
yeah.
okay.
Sorry, can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, are we saying we'd want an excuse to make it as tall as possible, to make it as safe as possible?
It's not to make it as tall as possible. We don't want to do that. It's just the way that the code reads. If you put any sort of railing or fence on top of a retaining
Right.
wall, that gets added onto the height.
It's considered
So
part of the
your-
fence,
your-
of the.
Yeah, your
Okay.
wall is not going to change.
I
We're not
understand.
asking you to change the wall in
I
any way,
understand.
just a restraining device, a small guide rail essentially on top of it.
Okay.
But we want to make sure we include that height, that additional height in the variance request.
Okay, because, of course, any added, because anybody that does walk over the retaining wall, I've walked over that wall, and it's very easy for anybody walking over the wall and very close to the edge of the wall to fall off. And I'm saying I would want to install a fence tall enough to prevent anybody from falling over.
Exactly,
So I'd want to make it as safe as possible, is what I'm saying.
Right, which would be 46 inches.
42 inches, yeah,
42
3.5
inches,
feet is.
What I'm saying
is
is
a standard
perhaps even
requirement.
taller. I don't want any, I want to be safer. as
Well, if
safe
you
as
want to
possible.
request something higher than that, now would be the time to do it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying from now.
Hold on, go
Yeah.
ahead.
If the board approves 6.59 feet, that is the highest you can go. You can't
Okay.
put a railing on top of that. So what we're asking right now is, do you want to tack 48 inches onto the 6.59 so you have permission to put that railing on there?
I'm saying I want to make it as safe as possible.
So you want to
So
go
you want the
to,
48 inches above the 6.59?
Yes, I
42.
want to make it as
42.
high as possible. So I
We'll
want to
go
make
4
it.
feet, so we'll go.
yeah, I don't think you need higher than what is it? 48?
Yeah, 48 is
Okay.
4 feet. I mean,
Fine.
3.5 is probably going to be the most that he's going to be required to put by uniform.
Okay,
construction
so you
code,
want to
but
add
4
the
feet is
48
not,
inches
If
to.
he wants to go
okay.
higher, that's,
Fine.
he's
Yeah.
more than welcome to go
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah, that's what I want to do because it's very, I don't want if somebody was dumb enough to think to jump over the fence and this is a
Okay.
wall, a retaining wall. I want to make it high enough to
So
prevent.
they don't fall over it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a liability for you, and you want to reduce that
Yeah,
risk to the
exactly.
maximum extent.
Yes.
We understand. We just want to make sure that that is included,
Yeah.
only because this ordinance is a little bit unique in that any
We're only
fence or
stopping
guide
dumb
rail
people.
is included in the height.
Only
Right.
stopping the dumb people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I mean, in all reality, if there's children playing up there, something like that, so I can understand your concern.
Yeah.
Us as the board, we just want to make sure that you're getting the correct variance and the correct approvals that we would be able to give you so that you can do what you want to do,
Yeah.
obviously. We understand that these walls were, I mean, even if it was the right height, it's still high enough for somebody to fall off of. So, I mean, even if it was only, how high is it allowed? 6 feet?
6 feet is allowed.
Yeah, 6 feet is allowed, but that's still high enough to hurt yourself if you're falling down. So.
You could fall off a 2-foot wall.
Right,
Actually,
exactly.
and hurt yourself pretty good.
Yeah.
Twist an ankle.
But,
I understand.
yeah. So, as far as you can tell, how long you been in the house?
Since June, first week of June.
Okay. And when you first bought the house, did you have a home inspection of that wall or any kind of inspection of that wall?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I've had a couple of engineering friends and an official inspection come.
And they didn't express any concerns about the structure of the wall?
No.
Okay. And haven't seen any deterioration or any movement of the wall?
There's the second wall. So the wall spans at 200 feet, and within the midspan, it curves inside. So there's two walls, and
Two levels,
the upper wall that spans inside seems to be incomplete.
What do you mean by incomplete?
It seems that as if that's where he stopped working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a photo of that area?
Is that one of the photos you gave us? Which one?
Before we get to the photo,
Yeah.
we heard your testimony about it being built correctly, but Samantha, what will we need?
To prove
So,
it?
yeah,
prove
so,
that.
just so the applicant understands as well, tonight before this board, we're primarily concerned with the height of the wall and giving you the variance approval for the height of the wall. But
Okay.
because this wall, unfortunately, by your predecessors was built, without the proper approvals and without the proper permits, you will still have to go through the permitting process for the wall as if it was new.
Okay.
So you'll have to provide, to the satisfaction of the construction official, a permit application for the retaining wall that, probably based on the inspection reports that you've already gotten, that shows how the wall was constructed, what its condition is, if there's anywhere that needs to be repaired, for example, this area that you're talking about that may or may not be incomplete. He's going to want to see that, and basically, from here, you still have another hurdle to go through, and you do have to get the construction permit issued
Okay.
after the fact. And that all falls into the construction official's jurisdiction, and,
Okay.
he'll let you know exactly what he's looking for, but just want to make sure that you're prepared and know that that's what would come next.
That's the township's construction official.
Correct, yep.
Right.
I
Jeff,
Yeah.
yep,
had
You know
the
Jeff.
pleasure.
yep.
You would have even had to do that if this was just 6 feet of wall.
If it was anything over
Yeah.
4 feet, you would have to
Right.
go get construction
Okay.
permits with signed and sealed stability calculations.
And then when it reaches an issue, then I'd have to come back here, or
You're
he's-
getting the approval for the height now, so we're getting the height out of the way, and then you're gonna go and get the permit, and that's just gonna make sure, he's gonna look through probably your files of the photos of when it was constructed versus how it
Any
was supposed to
documents you
be.
have.
Any
Okay.
documents, the inspection report that you have, and he's gonna verify that, yes, in fact, I agree that this wall has been constructed in accordance with the Uniform Construction Code and in accordance with the design.
Okay, so post permitting, there wouldn't be an issue when he would come and inspect.
If he brings up an issue, that's separate
You don't
from
have
this
to come
board.
before us for that.
Yeah.
It's strictly dealing with the town.
Strictly with the construction code
Construction.
official.
Okay,
We're only here for height
Yep.
issues, and to allow you to put that railing on it.
okay, all right.
Any questions of the applicant by the board members?
I have a question.
Yes.
Similar to the other one, why are we here for an existing wall?
Because the wall is over the 6-foot level.
Right, and he
Plus, he needs a railing, so by putting the railing on, he needs a height variance over the 6
Right.
feet. So he's gonna need a 10, 11-foot
he's
Right.
here for the railing that
Height.
gives us height.
Yes,
Okay.
and also the
Gary,
fact that it's 6
original wall,
Never got a permit.
never got a,
Never got a permit,
No,
never got a variance.
never got construction
Okay.
permits and never
Right.
got variance approval to exceed the height. So even though it's already built, they're coming after the fact
Oh,
for.
right.
so it's not just the railing, well, it is the railing
It's
that's
for the
causing
existing
it.
wall that's already there
Yeah.
to certify, that the
But it's
height
because he wants to
and
put a
then-
railing that we're here.
Correct,
Okay.
And also because it is slightly over the 6 feet, too.
correct,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, so that's giving him the opportunity to put the railing because he's getting that variance.
exactly, yep.
Any other questions?
So, I guess, kind of along those lines, this wouldn't have been brought to us unless, I assume you brought this to our
We just,
attention?
we just bought the house.
No, I'm saying it
So
wasn't brought by.
in 2006, I think I have a little history of it in the beginning of my letter. The house was built in 2006 and did not, at that time, require any board approvals to be constructed. It was constructed, and it was later found out when it was completed that it had retaining walls in the rear yard that exceeded 6 feet. So then it was cited as a zoning violation because it exceeded the maximum required, 6 feet. At that time, the current owner was told, you're in violation, you need to go to the board for approval of this, and they foreclosed on the house. So they never came before the board to get the 6 feet. approved, then the property was bank-owned for a long period of time. Of course, the bank did not come before the
Of
board.
course.
So,
You're lucky they cut the
you
lawn.
know, they are the
So
new
they're
owners,
the
so
new
they
owners since then.
inherited this from basically the 2006 owners.
And they're trying to do the right thing. so
Correct.
That's good.
Okay. I just didn't know if they were being violated, like if there were some violations.
Yes,
or
technically,
something.
currently, right now, they have an existing zoning violation, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the house still on a TCO because of it?
Well,
You can't get your
it's
final.
expired.
It's expired. It's on an expired TCO until this is
There
rectified.
you go. Can't live in it.
Okay.
All right, any other?
The violation appeared on a title search or something like that, and they still closed.
No, it
Well,
wouldn't.
It wouldn't appear
No.
on a title search, but especially in this situation with a foreclosure and a bank owner, your due diligence is kind of limited.
Yeah.
So
But I-
but it still wouldn't appear on a title report.
And I think when you bought the property, you did know this was an issue at the time, and you knew this was something.
So we couldn't close because the bank was taking such a long time trying to find out what it is that they can do to get us the CO,
I see.
until they finally told us or agreed with the township that we'll close, or we'll finally close, being that you file an application, and that's what we did, and we finally closed, and that's when we filed the application, getting the temporary CO, and
I see.
that's when we had the baton in our hand and we ran with it.
And here we are.
Good,
Okay.
So it was all
I think
conditional.
that paints more of a.
Yeah, that's
picture.
great. I mean, at least you're going in the right direction. I think probably what happened is the builder, miscalculated and made a skosh over 6 feet.
Exactly. Well, the issue was he didn't get the walls permitted at all.
Right, exactly.
If they were 6 feet to the dot, they just would have went through the construction permit process. None of this would have been an issue. Unfortunately, yes. It probably anticipated to be 6 feet, but changing grades a little bit, and we ended
Exactly.
up a little bit higher.
He actually didn't get the house inspected either,
Oh, lovely.
so,
You sure you wanted to buy this?
yeah.
Wow.
But, luckily, the construction official was, nice with that when we closed on the house, and, he gave us the temporary CO on the house contingent on the wall.
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, it's a very nice house. It's
Yeah.
just too bad that no one went through the right permits. But any other questions of the applicant by board members? Any questions of the applicant of our experts, of their reports? Okay. Any questions of the public? Any public at all? Do we have any public
No
on?
public on Zoom?
Any
and
public out there? I see one
Nope.
person, okay. Okay, closing to the public. All right. Would you have any closing statements you want to make?
No, I think this is the only thing that we really needed to do to really resolve the board issues for the
Okay.
variance, and I appreciate your patience with us, and
Well, thank you, and we appreciate people coming and fixing issues, even though it wasn't your issue, you're doing your diligence and trying to fix it.
thanks.
All right, Jonathan, would you like to start the deliberation?
Oh, I'm sorry, can I say something?
Oh, sure.
Am I in any rush to get this completed, to get this fence installed?
Well, they have
You have 1 year
1 year,
to permit it.
To permit it, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
To permit it,
So you will, within 1 year, you have to submit the appropriate documents to the construction department
okay,
to build the fence. And then they take, 20 business days. But you have to submit the application within 1 year of the memorialized, should the board.
Resolution.
If the board is in
So
favor of
let's
the
say,
application.
let's assume we approve it, the next meeting or the meeting after that,
Mhm.
depending on when the resolution is done, we would make it a formal resolution, the 1 year from that date you have. So if you want to consider 1 year a rush, I guess, but, that's, you have 1 year.
But before you get that application, you have to comply with all the conditions of the resolution,
Right.
which will be getting that engineering certification,
Right.
engineering certification,
that the wall is built correctly and stable.
okay,
Right. To
That's
the
required
satisfaction of the construction.
Right. Okay,
That's prior to getting the construction permit.
okay. That's for the for the second wall we were
For every
talking
wall,
about?
for every
all the
Oh, for
walls.
everything?
Yep.
Okay,
Right.
He's not gonna have an issue with the railings on top of the wall.
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
the easy part.
right.
okay, I understand.
That's for
And-
the entire construction project
Yeah.
back there.
Okay. I'm sorry, the language for that, so that I can take it back to, my structural engineer?
Well, so regarding the construction permits?
Yes,
Probably a conversation to have after this with the construction code official, exactly what he's going to be required, but it's going to be along the lines of signed and sealed stability calculations for the wall and probably an inspection report on the existing condition of the wall.
okay, who do I ask that from?
That's the construction code official.
So
So verify
I'll
with
work with
them.
you after the fact. So
Okay.
once we have the resolution in hand, well, that's under the assumption the board's going to approve it.
Right,
Then I'll work with both of you and your engineer
right,
to coordinate what needs to happen after that.
okay,
So because there will be a lot written in the resolution that will outline what you'll need to do going forward. too.
Okay.
That'll be a big help.
I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Sorry again,
No
thank you.
No worries.
No,
So basically, you just read the conditions, correct?
correct.
Okay. Jonathan, would you like to start?
Sure. It's an existing condition, doesn't seem to be anything that's too outrageous, so half a foot, I assume, or a little more than a half a foot or above. And I think that the need for a public safety and safety of your own family and whoever, is at your property for a fence seems to outweigh any negatives that may arise from having a fence where it is, and it appears it's way in the back that it wouldn't bother anybody. So I see no problem with this, and I would approve the application.
Okay. Gary?
I think it's unfortunate that you had to kind of go through all this, and I'm glad that you're taking care of it now, and I would be in favor of this application.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm also in favor of the application. I think that it's, just a diminished amount above the walls, the height of the wall that we allow, or the township allows, and I think the railing is good for safety measures and will not add to, the look of it to the neighborhood. I think it'll still, look similar or the same as it did before.
Brian?
I agree with my fellow board members, just in terms of what's in front of the board. Technically, this wall is essentially the first time we're seeing it. So I agree that I think these walls allow for full use of the property, and that you have a unique topographic situation on your property with a steep slope, or rather, a sloping condition that allows for full use of the property. I believe the variance was that it's 6 inches over what's allowed by ordinance, and then the fence we're adding 48 inches,
Yeah.
48 inches. So I believe that the 6 inches is a diminished amount that was necessary based on the topography you're dealing with, and the 48-inch fence is an added bonus for safety to make sure that the conditions remain safe. I don't believe there's any detriment to end this, and that it's in conformance with the purposes of the municipal land use law, and I'm in favor of the application.
I concur with the remaining, my fellow board members. I think that I applaud the applicant for getting this rectified, and I'm sorry that the previous owner stuck you with this, but those things happen. It's too bad if he would have come before us originally, that you would have not had this issue. But the wall is really not visible from the street that you're on. It's in the back of the yard. I think by allowing you to put the railing up, I believe that'll make it safer for the entire neighborhood in case somebody wanders onto your property or decides to climb the fence and play King of the Hill or whatever. So I would also be in favor of it. I think the negatives are not there. There's very little negatives other than the fact that, just to make sure the wall is built right. I think you have some paperwork on that, and you've had people look at it, so you just have to go through that hurdle. And I think it's a positive by allowing the fence, the railing to be put on it. So I would be in favor of it also. All right. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Get in.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Giannakis?
Yes.
Hold on a second. Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Johnson?
Yes.
Chairman Correct?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, it's a record. Before 9, we got 2 of them done.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations,
Thank you
guys.
so
Good luck
much.
with the house.
Thank you so much.
You don't have to come to the meeting when we do the resolution, so.
No, no, no.
So I'll just within.
You'll get
within
a
the next
copy of
month-
it.
Right, within the next month, I'll send you the resolution and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as long as, all you have to do is read the resolution, make sure you let her know you're fine with it, that everything was exactly how you thought it was supposed to be. If you have a question about it, ask her, she'll answer it, and then we'll approve it, all right?
Okay,
Yep.
and we can send also the engineer's report also via.
Yep, send
Yes.
everything
Yeah,
through
She'll-
me.
double
she'll
work with me
explain
on
that.
that.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds great.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
good.
much.
Take care.
Good evening.
All right, we'll
All
talk to you
right,
soon.
for new business, guys, I don't know how many of you knew that the first time ever, they had a advanced seminar on zoning issues for planning board and Board of Adjustment people at the Raritan Valley College, given by our own attorney's firm, Steve, and also some other attorneys were there, and also there was somebody from the county, and there was an engineer there, and they actually put on a lecture. I went there, when was it? Last Tuesday?
Saturday, the
Yeah.
9th?
Yeah, somewhere on there.
Right, I think it was
Beginning,
Saturday.
the early in the month. And I found it quite interesting. They're gonna do this every year. They really felt that they had a lot of interest in it. They also had a beginner's class that people would have to go to get certified, that class that you normally take, and they had this advanced class. And I would recommend it the next time they give it. If it's next year or so, I'd recommend everybody goes, because it's focused in on some issues that were current, that changing issues that they had. So it went over some highlights of things that we should be aware of, and it was a well done course. So I would recommend that people, when it does come up next time, I would recommend that people do it if you have the time. So
That's next time I send the email out, you can
yeah.
respond to the email and tell everybody how good it was.
Yes, yeah, but I'm just letting you know that I had I thought it was a well-run seminar, and it was very informative.
Good.
So, it's not often that you get something for non-beginners in that area,
Right.
So it was well done. So, all right. Any other business? Oh, what's next for?
On May 3rd, we have the Greek restaurant coming back.
Great.
On May 17th, we have Plainfield Road, 44 Plainfield, Jonathan Rocker coming back.
Oh, great, too. And they're the only ones on those days.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Good, okay. And did you put our lunch order in with the Greek restaurant?
I'll work on that. I'll
Okay,
work on
good.
that next, yeah.
All right. All right, here